Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition, and for tonight headlines, we have departure of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia after a 24-hour visit to Djibouti. Opening of refugee centers for migrants from international organizations of migration and the Minister of Women and Family. And for the international scene, directionist Francis Ford Coppola is the winners of the Light Prize. Welcome to our newsroom. Ethiopian Prime Minister returns home after a 24 hours private visit to Djibouti. Ethiopian Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali left our country today Sunday on the middle of the afternoon, where he had been there since yesterday as part of a 24-hour private stay. On his departure, the Ethiopian leader was greeted at Djibouti International Airport by the national authorities, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Democratic and Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Mr. Muhammad Idris Farah, the Ambassador of the Democratic and Federal Republic of Ethiopia to the Republic of Djibouti, Abdulaziz Mohammed Ibrahim. Also led several other Ethiopian diplomats stationed in Djibouti greeted Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali at the airport. International Organization for Migration in collaboration with ONARS and the Ministry of Women and Family inaugurated last Tuesday's rehabilitation centers for vulnerable migrants. More detail with Idris Mahmoud.
OEM, in collaboration with the honors in Ministry of Women and Family, inaugurated last Thursday a rehabilitation center for vulnerable migrants. Indeed, this ceremony a testimony to the fruitful collaboration between honors and OEMs. This brand new premise, which include a consultation and care center and dormitory, will provide these migrants with a decent roof. As I remember, this year, more than 3,000 migrants, the majority of them Ethiopians, were assisted at the framework of the programs of assistance of voluntary return and reintegration of migrants. During their staff at Loyada Center, they receive foods, separate health assistance kit, and accommodation for men and women. Honors in collaboration, this international organization for migrants pay close attention to their commitment to provide the best possible assistance to the migrant for neighboring countries.
For her part, the representative of the International Organization for Migration, Ms. Lalini Verasamy, said indeed this ceremony is a testimony of the fruitful collaboration between ONARS and International Organization for Migration. This brand new premises, which includes a consultation and care center and a dormitory, will provide these migrants with a decent roof, she said. For her part, the Minister of Women and Family, Mumina Ahmed Hassan, said as a reminder this year more than 3,000 migrants, the majority of them Ethiopians, were assisted in the framework of the programs of assistance for the voluntary return and reintegration of migrants. During their stay at the Loyada Center, they received food, separate health assistance kits, and accommodations for men and women. ONARS, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration, pays close attention to their commitments to provide the best possible assistance to migrants from the neighboring countries, she said. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud, chaired this morning's meeting on Sunday. This meeting, which was attended by Secretary General and senior ministry officials, was especially organized at the Basic Education Teacher Training Center, where the first video conference trainings was launched on the school's project for school health. Headmasters, the various regional education departments for the 5 inland regions participate in real time. The prefect of Ali Sabih and the region is Mr. Musa Adan Migane, and Mr. Adan Darar Musa attend this important training sessions, which is the first of its kind. Speaking in turn, the prefect first welcomed this wonderful initiative, at the same time exchanged views with the Minister of on educational matters. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud, stated this digital platform is the culmination of MENFOP's effort to achieve results in terms of teaching and learning. This then spoke at the length to the school principals, who must set the pace by stimulating a dynamic among their teachers and students. Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud announced the organization of general assessment of all students at the national level to determine the level of students' performance in each of our regions. Later, these assessments will concern all Djibouti students who will be tested on a regional, continental, and global scale, he concluded. Budget Ministers Abdul Karim Aden Shah, leading a large delegations in currently participate in the 2019 annual meetings of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund, whose main themes this year are working together to build strong and inclusive economies and contribute to countries' success. The annual meetings of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund are a major international event that each year brings together considerable number of delegates from the member states of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, representative of observers organizations, experts from the academic world, members of the private sectors, and representative of civil society on major global issues. After their heroic match against Gambia, defeated on penalties, the Sharks had the honor this Friday to be invited by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamil. More details in this video.
The heroic match against Gambia defeat on penalties, the Shark had honored this Friday to be invited by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamil, for lunch and quiet and peaceful in island of Musha. As sorting of emotional day for Shark, they have been able to refresh themselves in the turquoise water, above all discover their richness and sit especially with the scuba of diving. Let's eat usual meat means we are therefore invited to sit down with the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport to taste a good traditional dish. An opportunity for both sides to discuss the health for national teams and especially to discuss future for Djibouti footballs. Addressing the guests, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport once again lives up to player. This defeat must not rush you. It happened. It's football. This should not prevent you from continuing to write a peaceful new page. Do it for yourself, for all of us. For Djibouti, go green in flight with the confidence and Shark return to around 5 p.m. after educational and fun day.
The Minister for Decentralization, Mr. Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, today received the new ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt, His Excellency Mohammed Mustafa Orfi, in his office on a courtesy and first contact visit. On this occasion, the Minister first welcomed Djibouti's and the ambassadors and expressed his wishes for success in his missions to the ambassador, He then went on the present to his post to the prerogative of his department dedicated to the important reforms of decentralization, while highlighting the existence of political will at the highest level to advance this important reform. He recalled the transversal natures of his department, especially in its role as a facilitator and catalyst of these interventions of sectoral ministries in the region, but also that of the monitoring and coordinating on their decentralized services with the aim of bringing the administration closer to the administrators. From 1947 until today, Djibouti's air traffic control towers has never stopped evolving. Today, the airfield answers to the international stand under the auspices of the Ministry of Transport. The Djibouti Air Traffic Controllers Professional Association has organized ceremony to mark the noble and dedicated work of its people. The 20th of October is famous in the work of air traffic controllers. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Transport, Mr. Said Nuh, was present at this ceremony. The Director of Civil Aviation is the President of Air Traffic Control Associations, and then the member of the associations and the dean. A conference to discuss social changes and evolutions of gender relations, and at the Centers for Leadership and Entrepreneurship Center this weekend, organized by the center in close collaborations with the UNFPA. This 2 days conference was an opportunity for researchers, academics, and men to discuss this issue. The case of Djibouti's understanding to better act on social change and the evolutions of gender relations over the past 30 years was at the center of the discussions. Djibouti society, which was originally a society of nomadic culture, has undergone a major social change that had a strong impact on gender relations over the past 4 decade. In this particular context, women have endured many gender-related problems. As part of the fight against global warming, the Associations for Social Development and Environmental Protection of GOBAD organized on Thursday, October 17th, at the Regional Council of Dakhil, a workshop to launch the project of reforestation of the villages of As'ila, entitled One Tree to One Place. Is financed by the microfinancing program of the Global Environmental Fund. Indeed, this project, initiated by the ATSEG associations, will undoubtedly contribute to improving the living condition of the population of the As'ila sub-prefecture, particularly in the fight of climate change, which has become a global issue in recent years. Important personalities took part in this launch workshop, including the President of Regional Council, Mr. Abdurrahman Yunus Arre, the Deputy Prefect, Mr. Fuad Obakar, the President of the association's local elected officials, heads of decentralized service, and women. As part of the celebrations of the International Food Day, in line with the other regions in the interior, the 14,000 tree plantings campaign was launched in the Unity regions on the Wednesday, October 16, 2019. This tree planting campaign took place under the aegis of the prefect of the Dakhil region, Mr. Adan Drar Musa, region, accompanied by the President of the Regional Council, Abdurrahman Yunus Arre, the parliamentarian of the Dakhil region, Mr. Nouria Waberi Ufane, and Ms. Kaltoum Farah Saeed, the Deputy Regional Directors of the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Abdurrahman Omar Banchir, the Great National Agro-Livestock, Mr. Jama Gedi Dide, as well as all the managers of the decentralized service and associations in the various districts. These first days of tree planting concerned the main arteries of the capital of Dakhil, as well as the Haru district of schools. This planting campaign also took place in the 3 sub-prefectures of the region, as Ela, Yoboki, and Mulud. The Dikil prefectures have set up mobile teams to expand tree planting operation in remote area or localities in the region. Still within the framework of the contact of the prefect of the region, the unit region, Mr. Aden Drar Musa went yesterday to the Galafi border post at 2016 17 kilometers from Dekhel. On his arrival, the prefect of the Dekhel region, Aden Drar Musa, and accompanied by the head of the various decentralized service and the parliamentarian of the region, was welcomed by the deputy prefect of Yoboki, Mr. Adu Sanalasi Udum, the chief of the customer service sectors of Galafi, Mr. Abdullah Muhammad Sultan, the chief of the immigration police, Sergeant Chef Musa, and the chief of the post of deputy armed forces, Aden Umar. After having been welcomed by the officials and agents of the various borders bodies, the prefect of the region of the unit first visited the services of Galafi Customs, where the heads of the sector, Mr. Abdullah Muhammad Sultan, presented him the functioning of the import registration service, as well as the various documents and the taxations of the various goods. Tree planting service in Arta also, while the prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, participate alongside the heads of state in the World Food Day in Damerjog, like their compatriot in the rest of the country. The Arta peoples enthusiastically mobilized for the 100,000 tree planting campaign initiated by the head of state, placed under the aegis of the President of the Republic. Actions all together in Arta city in the early hours of the morning, 16 October, under the leadership of the Deputy Prefect, Mr. Muhammad Fauzi, region of they must successfully in the basic schools and the high schools in the courtyard of these schools. They witnessed the plantings of some plants by school children and high school students. As part of the International Day of Action, the population is mobilized for the 100,000th tree planting campaign initiated by the head of state under the aegis of the President of the Republic. The team acting for the future healthy food. This vision, this World Food Day, described it as a green day, called on all citizens, the Djibouti nations, to recognize the importance of planting and saving trees in Tajura in the early hours of these mornings under the leadership of the regional prefect, Mr. Hassan Dabale, the president of the regional council, Mr. Omar Hussein, the deputies and the parliamentarian of the region, the MENFOP inspectors and local elected officials, police, gendarmerie, army, heads of the central state services, member of the UN bodies, women, to celebrate these days and this day dedicated to the tree planting and take place in the best conditions. Obok is the region with the highest marine biodiversity. It has at its disposal the largest seafront, nearly 172 kilometers long, which houses coastal reef and the great forest of the mangrove. This International Food Day is celebrated through the planting tree to fight the effect of changes aggravated in our country by the increase in the number of deforestations in Obok. The plantations, as expected, did not stop as terrestrial essences. It also concerned the mangrove, these atmospheres. And for the international scene, Brexit agreement and disagreement for yet another twist is more details with this report.
Oliver, the town is a new name that comes in English Brexit scenario. It was the amendment of this conservative member that was adopted by a narrow majority on Saturday, thus postponing the vote for which Parliament had met exceptionally. Westminster did not come an agreement reached by Boris Johnson in Brussels, but the Prime Minister remained committed to his position. In less than 12 days, the United Kingdom will leave the European Union. I remain firmly convinced that the best thing of the United Kingdom for Europe as a world is leave each other with this new agreement on 31st October. To anticipate the request that came from opposition, I will not negotiate a new deadline with the European Union. The European Commission take note of Westminster decision in the corridor of Brussels. The time is ripe for fatalism in face of this absent twist.
To close up this edition is in Syria, concerns for the civilian population. More details with Idris Mahmoud.
24 hours after its implementation, the ceasefire in Syria is struggling to be respected. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who was meeting with NATO Secretary of State John Stoltenberg in Brussels, acknowledged that Thursday's agreement may have taken some time to be implemented. However, he remained confident that he will be respected until Tuesday evening. On the North Atlantic Alliance side, the evolution of explosive situation is being carefully scrutinized. Turkey indeed to create security zone the border. The President Erdogan motioned a trip more than 400 km long and 32 km wide, taking advantage of negotiated calm in Kurdish population fled or fighting zone transported by bus. The region hastily set up refugee camps. 300,000 people have already been displaced. Began more than a week ago, the Turkish operation killed 86 civilians and 239 FDS fighters. 187 pro-Turkish fighters also died. Turkish reporter the death of 6 of ill soldiers and 20 civilians killed in border town by firing of Syrian Kurdish fighter.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.